Hello, everyone. Welcome to First 11. My name is Chris. I'm thrilled to be able to introduce our racing lead here at First 11, Tom Gaymor. Thank you for joining me today.
Chris, thanks for the glowing welcome. You've stolen my job, haven't you? You are leading, and I'm answering the questions, something I'm not too used to
A
nowadays.
nice role reversal, so I'll do the hard work today. So for those of you guys sort of tuning in or watching this video, we are building out some amazing challenges together with some of the best kind of sim racing drivers from the world of esports, as well as real drivers. And we sort of searched not too far because we had a fantastic host in Tom, and Tom's going to be interviewing and leading this. So it's great to have you here. But I think just for the people to get sort of the First 11 sort of viewers familiar with you and your background, it'd be cool if you tell us a little bit about your pathway into racing and your experience on the track.
Yeah, I was waiting for the "This Is Your Life" theme tune there, but yeah. So motorsport essentially seen as a closed book. It was a difficult sport for me to get into. Convincing my parents to buy a cricket bat and a set of pads was one thing. Convincing them to buy a go-kart and take me around the country and spend tens of thousands of pounds on my racing career was quite another thing. So it wasn't until a little bit later on in my sort of adolescent years and my teenage years where I entered a competition at Silverstone, the fast track competition, and that was an opportunity for me to go head to head with all of the top karters in the country. And those that came first and second in that competition would win coveted seats in the Formula Renault Campus Championship, move to Le Mans, so in France, and compete there. So I was lucky enough to win that competition. Lars Sexton, who was an O-Plate winner in Super One, was the other driver, and that was really where my motorsport career started. It went from sort of national and club karting to right on the big scene, racing throughout Europe. We raced in China as well at Zhuhai, and racing against some big names in terms of karters, and it was a baptism of fire. So I had to learn French quickly. I had to learn to compete at the top level, and that really put me in good stead. I came back here, raced for Hayward, the factory McGow squad in Formula Ford. Jenson Button, Anthony Davidson were the drivers before me, and then raced for the Duckham's Van Diemen squad as well. So those of you that are into your motorsport, that squad and what that Duckham's car looked like will need no introducing. And then went on through the ranks. Was going to compete for DPR, for David Price Racing in Formula Renault V6, which is now amalgamated into World Series, but broke my back, and yeah, spent a lot of time rebuilding myself. Well, I didn't actually spend too much time rebuilding myself. The surgeons did, but I spent a lot of time trying to put right what the surgeons had done in terms of their handiwork. So a lot of rehab, 2 years sitting on the sidelines, never really got back, lost my career momentum, swapped the steering wheel for the microphone or the headset, and here I am. So sort of 8 years into a broadcasting career now.
So I think the broadcasting side is something I've seen you do more and more of, which is great. And it must be cool coming into broadcasting, commentating on races, all different types of races, with that kind of racing knowledge, because you can kind of relate to the drivers. Maybe you've been in a similar sort of position on the grid. I mean, how do you find that sort of? And what was the kind of first sort of major broadcasting sort of class? Was it F1 or was it MotoGP? Or I mean, how did you get into
Now, I'd love
your
to start
first
with
gig?
F1,
Yeah,
but broadcasting's a bit like being a driver. You have to start at the beginning. So I
yeah.
think I think my first race was a Formula Masters race for Eurosport at Spa, and then you progress up. But you got to learn your trade. No one teaches you how to do it in broadcasting, and in today's day and age of social media, a lot of people tell you that you're not very good, and that you can't do it. So you've got to sort of battle through that and learn on the job, and it's a tough environment. Live TV is fascinating. It gives me an adrenaline rush. It goes wrong. You have to think on your feet. It gives you a role in the weekend, if you like. When I stopped racing, I didn't want anything to do with motorsport because it was a real challenge going back to something that you loved and not being able to do what you wanted to do. But live TV gives me a purpose, gives me an opportunity, gives me that buzz, and it's fascinating, and I've enjoyed every bit of it. And in terms of what I've done, I sort of moved through the ranks, and Eurosport have been very kind to me. Of late, I do things like the Indy 500 for Sky Sports. I did all the IndyCar races in the Indy 500 for BT when they had it. I lead Le Mans and various other races for Eurosport, the World Endurance. I've led Eurosport's World Superbike coverage with Steve Parish, the effervescent Steve Parish. What a character he is. And I've commentated on BSB weekends, and I've really enjoyed the bikes. That's losing two wheels for me, because I've born and brought up in the four-wheel world, but the two-wheel world, well, that's something else. And I love every minute of that as well. So I've had quite a versatile career in the broadcasting world. Done a bit of BBC 5 Live for Formula One, and do their Formula E coverage as well. So not only have I done the bikes, I've gone electric. So in a short period of time, covered quite a lot.
Quite a lot of ground. And then recently you've been getting into the coverage for the actual esports scene, right? So you were doing Le Mans,
Yeah.
and I mean, tell me a bit about that, and what are your thoughts on the whole sort of sim racing thing, and how...
Yeah, well, sim racing, or gaming, and esports, two very different things,
Yeah.
as you know much more than I do. But the esports world is a very successful one. It burst onto the scene for the wider audience, if you like, during lockdown. So during this COVID-19, the initial outbreak earlier on in the year in spring, and when all the racing was cancelled, what a great way to still get motorsport out on the screens and onto your TV and on digital platforms, by actually providing a platform for real racers to go and race the Indy 500, instead of doing it in the real, but virtually, and of course Le Mans as well. So I commentated on Eurosport's virtual Le Mans. It was fabulous. If you look at the array of drivers and the names that entered it, not only from the real but also the sim racing world. We very much invaded that esports virtual world. It wasn't something that just arrived. We kind of gate crashed their scene, and they are much better at it than we are. Even from a commentary point of view, there's so much that I had to learn, and names and careers that I had to quickly get my head around and understand. And talking to the drivers and the teams that are involved in the virtual Le Mans, they had to do a huge amount of learning. I mean, some of the real racers really struggled, and it was quite funny to see, as well as the teams, when they tried to get their head around setting the car up in the simulation world, and what you do and what you don't do. And yeah, it was a baptism of fire. And actually, as we go into the sort of second lockdown now, the autumnal nights, I actually hope that there'll be a bit more of that. I've already been inquiring this week in terms of whether or not there's an appetite to recreate some of the things we had earlier on in the year.
I mean, the interesting thing is, in our series of challenges and interviews, and here at First 11, you caught up with Williams recently, the Williams esports team. And I think what's cool is when you've got kind of someone with such a sort of illustrious history like Williams, and then really at the forefront now of kind of the sim racing scene. I mean, how was that for you, interviewing those guys? And I mean, I know that we were talking a little bit outside of this, that they sort of try and apply the same level of precision and attention to detail into sort of the sim racing setup, the steering wheels and the pedals. And then how do you find that?
I think, first of all, as I said, the esport world was well established before lockdown. So these drivers and the teams and the promoters and the platforms and everything that they do is well polished and is impressive. And when I talk to Sally Saltange, for example, and I say to him, he's living in Enfield at the moment in London, and it's an urban area where opportunity can be difficult to come from, and there he is wearing the Williams branding. I said, what's it like to be part of a heritage or a legacy that you will have watched and known about growing up? Ayrton lost his life in a Williams car, but the likes of Mansell and Hill and big names in the sport have gone on to achieve incredible things, Alain Prost, and the list is absolutely endless. What's it like to be part of that? And he just had a massive smile on his face, and it's great to see the kids that are coming through the esports arena get that opportunity, be associated with some of the biggest names and biggest teams in the sport, and actually not have to rely on tens and tens and hundreds of thousands of pounds to even get their name in the shop window. That's before they even do well. It's incredible, and it can be really difficult in the motorsport landscape. So I think, what we're doing in the virtual world, or what the teams are doing, like Williams, and supporting young talent, I think it's absolutely fabulous, and it's here to stay, and it will grow and grow and grow.
Do you think that it's becoming, or it will become, a viable route into getting into a professional car? So I know there's James Baldwin, who's world's fastest gamer, and there's other guys that have transitioned from gaming and esports into getting a professional drive. I mean, is the leap too much of a leap? Do you think we'll ever see someone kind of transition and get that chance?
I mean, essentially, you've got to ask the likes of James Baldwin. I've not made the transition from sim to cars. I've obviously made the transition from car racing to sim racing, and I've done it badly. so it is a challenge. A lot of people say it's actually easier to go from the real to the sim world. So crikey, I found it so difficult. I hate to think what going from the sim world's like to the real. But I think, for me, that the big point is actually not trying to provide an either or a supplement for the real. I think the sim world has to be its own
thing.
Its own thing, and I think that's what will make it really powerful, creating and having its own USP. And actually, well, there's kids earning money already in the virtual world, and there's kids earning huge amounts of money in the gaming world. So arguably the opportunity is greater in the virtual world than it is in the real, such as the way the economy is at the moment, and the tensions and challenges that's facing the automotive world, and the amount of money it costs to go out racing. You could say, well, actually, where's the opportunity lie? I think it's going this way, but I don't think it will ever be a replacement for real world motorsport. But I think there's space for both of them to cohabit and create their own USPs.
I think the cool thing about First 11 and what we're doing together is the diversity of the type of people that enjoy the sheer, the love of gaming, right? So it's esports is one thing, and professional racing is another. But what we're building out together is this lens of fun. So I mean, are there games or specific things you've played that you find quite fun?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an expert at Ghost Valley 1, Rainbow Road.
Yeah.
The original Mario Kart on the SNES. I mean, it just doesn't get better than that. So I'm showing my age now. I might look young. I've had a downhill paper round, but I'm 39 years old now. So I can go back and hark on about the Sega Mega Drive and Sonic the Hedgehog and various other things. I went to a racing driver's house recently, and he had one of those old-fashioned arcade machines that you would get in a pub.
Yeah.
But it's got all the modern software. You'll know the terminology more than I do. But you can play about 1,000 different games on it. So it had everything from Pac-Man to Sonic the Hedgehog to Space Invaders to absolutely everything. So and we're into approaching our 40s now, and we were on it for about 2 hours playing each other, whilst the girls kind of looked at us as though we were mad. But I absolutely love the fun that can be had through gaming. And okay, I'm not as up to speed as some of the young kids nowadays, but if you actually look at Call of Duty, for example, and how realistic it is, and the gameplay around that, it's utterly staggering in terms of where we've gone in the gaming world. So yeah, whatever generation you're from, and whatever the game is, there's plenty of fun to be had. And I think motorsport's cool because it's one of those games that actually, or one of those environments that you can. It's not like FIFA, for example, which is incredibly popular in its own right. The motorsport, you can get closer to the real because you can recreate the simulator. You can recreate the pedals, the steering, the force feedback. You can recreate the environment very much like you can in,
flying planes.
Flying planes. I'm running these teeth in for a donkey.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So I was going to say in the aviation industry, that's the word I was looking for there on the tip of my tongue. So and I think that's cool because I can't think of many other environments where you can actually give the individual, whoever it is at home, that unique experience that is actually so close to what it's like in real life.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that's really exciting about the program we're working on is that we are obviously featuring the best of esports and pro sport, and designing kind of custom challenges around the guests. So I think that you were telling me that older drivers might not necessarily be into racing games. We can build fun challenges out of things they like to do in their downtime, and it doesn't always have to be really serious. If they want to play Mario Kart and fire red shells at the opponent, then that's fine. It doesn't always have to be with First 11. That's the great thing about what we're doing together. It's not about being the best. It's just about having fun and offering that chance to the fans to come in.
Being the best, but winning is everything.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think
I think that's fun though, in terms of it's that competitive edge, isn't it? We all want to do well at it, and I think part of the fun is obviously the participation, but it's actually, can you beat that lap time? Someone does, but it is. And that's certainly what I used to do when I was younger, when we were playing Ghost Valley 1. We'd go on time trial and actually you weren't playing the game, you were actually just playing each other and having goes at trying to beat each other's time. And I think that's quite good fun. I mean, obviously that's just from my perspective, because I'm sort of that way inclined, and that's probably why I went on to race cars for a living.
The other thing I was saying is that we're keen to do is to switch it the other way. So obviously this coronavirus is making things difficult generally for sort of production, going out and doing stuff. But what's cool is that you've got the skills and the ability in the real car. So I think that's an angle we're really keen to explore with doing some fun challenges in the real and trying to take some of these gamers and give them the opportunity to join you with kind of fun challenges in the real.
I'll have to dust my crash hat off and wipe the goggles down.
I'll look forward to being a passenger there. It'd be quite fun. So
I think that now.
So everything's cool. I think we've got lots of really great entertaining features, challenges, cool stuff coming up. I think Tom is very much leading and helping work with us on the racing strategy. So I know you've got fantastic connections with drivers and great wealth of experience, and obviously your ability to cover things from a broadcast and sort of presenter standpoint is going to be really cool. So we're thrilled to have you join the team, and I'm really excited to work with you and deliver some really exciting entertainment here at First 11.
Thank you.
Take care. All the best. See you later. Bye bye.